Hey, what's good? Not every fighter is gonna be an all-time great. Not every fighter is gonna be remembered from the ages to the ages. Not every fighter is gonna be enshrined in the Hall of Fame, being called the greatest. Hello, welcome to my underrated fight series, and today I will be talking about Ron Lyle. Usually in my underrated fight series, I've only done two, but I put a fighter that is referred to as a bum by many, and I argue that they're not a bum, that they're very good fighters. Ron Lyle here is not ever, I've never heard him been called a bum in any comment section, but he is a good heavyweight that just fought in one of the the greatest times to fight as a heavyweight. He fought in the 1970s. He fought against a who's who in the heavyweight division at that time. He fought he fought Ali. He fought George Foreman in one of the greatest fights of all time. I put his fight, Ron Lyle versus George Foreman, in the conversation with an Arturo Gatti, with the Gotti Ward. With the Hagler Hearns, with the I put that fight up there with those fights as one of the greatest fights of all time. Go ahead, do yourself a favor and watch that fight. He also beat Earnie Shavers in a shootout as well. Earnie Shavers had him down with the left hook at the end of the second round, but he was saved by the bell. But sixth round, he got him with a few good shots. Brutal knockout, brutal knockout. Watch that fight as well. Great fight. He fought George Foreman, Ali, Earnie Shavers, Jimmy Young, Jerry Cooney, Jimmy Ellis, Joe Bugner, Buster Mathis, Jerry Quarry, Oscar Benavina. Who's who? Who's who? He beat Oscar Benavina, who was a good fighter. He who's who? Everybody in the 70s. This is a tribute to Ron Lyle, but it's also I want to do a tribute to a mini tribute to the underrated heavyweights, great heavyweights that fought during the 1970s. Oscar Bonavina, a good heavyweight, gave Joe Frazier hell. He fought Joe Frazier, fought Ali twice, fought Ernie Shavers. He beat Chuck Webner. He beat Henry Cooper, both of whom dropped Muhammad Ali, and he beat Jimmy Ellis. I'll talk about him in a little bit. He beat Ernie Shavers, who's one of the most devastating punchers of all time, and Ron Lyle says he's the biggest puncher he's ever faced. He beat Jimmy Ellis, who fought Joe Frazier twice. He fought Bugner. He fought Earnie Shavers, Muhammad Ali, and he beat Bonavina and Jerry Quarry. And Jerry Quarry actually beat Ron Lyle, but he was a good fighter as well, a big puncher. He beat Floyd Patterson twice. He got a draw against Floyd Patterson. So he fought Floyd Patterson 3 times. He won twice. He beat Buster Mathis. He beat Ernie Shavers. He fought George Chuvalo and he fought Joe Frazier twice. And he lost to Jimmy Ellis as well. Jimmy Ellis is another good heavyweight that he fought and he beat. Jimmy Ellis fought Frazier twice. Fought Joe Bugner, who I will discuss in a bit. And he fought Muhammad Ali. And Jimmy Ellis also beat Bonavina and Jerry Quarry. Did I already say Jimmy Ellis? I'm sorry. Joe Bugner. He beat Joe Bugner by a split decision. Another good heavyweight who fought Muhammad Ali twice, fought Joe Frazier, fought Jerry Cooney, and fought Ernie Shavers. And he also fought Ellis, Wepner, and Cooper. Buster Mathis, another good heavyweight, he knocked out the second round. Buster Mathis fought Ali, Frazier, and Jerry Quarry. He beat George Chuvalo, another good heavyweight with an iron chin. It's a shame that Chuvalo didn't fight Ron Lyle. He also fought Jimmy Young twice, who another good heavyweight at that time, who beat Ron Lyle twice. But Jimmy Young, we're talking about the man that retired George Foreman for like 15 years, made him have the spiritual awakening, dropped him. He had a first round knockout loss against Jerry Cooney, but he was already 39 years old, past his prime. And the only heavyweight that wasn't great that beat Ron Lyle was Lynn Ball, but he was, as I said, he was past his prime. He was 38 years old. But so he fought in a who's who time, and he fought everybody. The only fighters that I missed that he didn't fight was Joe Frazier and Ken Norton. I think he would have crushed Ken Norton because he had that power. He was known for his devastating power, just as George Foreman, who says that Ron Lyle is the biggest puncher he's ever faced and the strongest fighter he's ever faced as well. George Foreman says, Ron Lyle hit me so hard. He hit me so hard that he hit me so hard his punches didn't hurt. That's some crazy stuff right there. He also said that when Ron Lyle punched him and he dropped him a few times. Brutal fight. I'm telling you, watch this fight. George Foreman says that he didn't know what dropped him. He can't remember why he was down. But with Muhammad Ali, he remembered the exact punch that got him down. He just remembered being on the ground against Ron Lyle. You're like, whoa. Also, another tale. I'll put this article in the description. It's from ringtv.com. It was from his amateur career. Now this guy, he threw a jab. He's like, oh man, I better fix my defense because I'm throwing the jab a little too low. The next thing he remembers, he was outside standing in 25-degree weather. And so he was like, he told his team, he's like, hey, what's up? So he went back to the dressing room, took a shower, changed, and then he's like, oh, what? It hit him. Once he stepped outside once again, he's like, oh man, I was knocked out. So he was out for a good 10 minutes. Like, he was out cold, but he didn't realize he was knocked out. That's how much of a puncher Ron Lyle was. That's how big of a puncher he was. Ron Lyle started boxing late. He turned pro in 30, but because he's from Denver, he's from a rough neighborhood. He joined the gang, and he did time. He got I believe a 16-year sentence for a second-degree murder. He was tried for first-degree murder, but got sentenced for a second-degree murder. He served 6.5 years in the Colorado State Penitentiary, so he's a tough dude. When he was gonna fight Muhammad Ali, he's like, I ain't scared of nobody. I did time. And he got stabbed. He actually got stabbed in prison, and he almost died. The doctor actually signed his death certificate. Like, they thought he was dead. He was in the operating table for 6.5 hours, man. He's a man that shouldn't even have built any type of legacy. He was declared dead in the operating table. Like, they were ready to they signed a death certificate already. Like, he was legally dead. Well, he only served 6.5 years or 7.5 years for his second-degree murder. But another highlight I want to say was when he fought Muhammad Ali. He was winning on 2 of the 3 scorecards. I thought he was winning clearly. He was fighting a beautiful fight. Muhammad Ali was using the rope-a-dope as a gimmick at that time. If you watch the whole broadcast, you could see it. He's like, yeah, I'm going to beat Ron Lyle. You know how Muhammad Ali talks. He was like, I'm going to beat Ron Lyle with the rope-a-dope. And then Howard Cosell kissing his ass. He's like, who's the dope? Ron Lyle wasn't the dope. Not at all, man. He was jabbing. He was hitting him with good combinations. And then Muhammad Ali would try to lean back into the ropes. And Ron Lyle would just wait for him. You could do that with slick fighters that you say are moving a lot. You don't have to chase them. And that's something Ron Lyle didn't allow Muhammad Ali to do. he would just chill. And there was one spot where Muhammad Ali went into the corner, and Ron Lyle just stepped back. He was stepping backwards into the middle of the ring, and he waved at him. He's like, "Come over here." To Muhammad Ali. He did that to Muhammad Ali, and Muhammad Ali abided. He went to where he was pissed. Muhammad Ali was mad, but he made Muhammad Ali move where he was. In the 11th round, he got caught with a good right hand, and Ali went to finish. There's a little controversy about it being an early stoppage, but I think it was a good stoppage. He was being hurt and he wasn't answering back. But you see the shots he was taking from George Foreman, you're like, he could have hung in there probably, because it took George Foreman like 15 hard shots, like right on the chin, to finish Ron Lyle in one of the greatest fights of all time. It took him that long. So maybe with Muhammad Ali, he could have lasted the round, even though there was 1 minute and 30 seconds left. He might have been able to last that round, but I have no problem with that stoppage. But Ron Lyle's legacy will always be like a man who gave George Foreman hell in one of the greatest fights. Actually, it was the fight of the year in 1976. He'll always be remembered for that. Gave Muhammad Ali hell, gave George Foreman hell, beat some very good fighters, very good, and only lost to the best fighters in his generation. If he had came up like 20 years later, like 1990s, he probably could have dominated, He probably could have dominated the heavyweight. Like, I'm sure he'd beat anybody right now. He'd knock Klitschko straight out. I truly believe that. But a great fighter. I know there's more to say about Ron Lyle, man, but I'm kind of drawing a blank right now. Oh yeah, there's also a good documentary here on YouTube. I'll put in the description. I'll put all this stuff in the description. But he would actually, once he got out, he would go back and visit the inmates that he met in prison. Because Ron Lyle actually learned how to box in prison. Once in prison, they taught him how to box. He was 21 years old. It was 1961, and he learned how to box. He was very good at. He's like, I could do that, and that's where he learned how to box. And in the state penitentiary, so the correctional system worked for Ron Lyle. It worked. He made it work for him. He made it work for his advantage. Came in troublemaker, came out a man. That's how it should be. But it's hard. It's hard to doing time. But he would actually go back and visit his friends in prison. A lot of people don't do that. And he would actually hold exhibitions in prison and spar with some of the inmates that were his friends. He would do some sparring with them. Ron Lyle, he was a good man. He also had the Salvation Army Boxing Club, where he would train kids, so he would do charity work. He would do a lot of stuff for when he would visit his friends that were doing hard time in the prison. 2011, Ron Lyle died of stomach complications, but he left a great legacy behind as a courageous, hard-punching fighter and a great man outside of it as well. Thanks for watching, everybody. What are some of your underrated fighters that you could think of? There's plenty in this era of the 1970s, just because it's such a great time, right? Anyway, please leave your comments. I want to hear what do you remember about Ron Lyle, if you did. If you didn't know about Ron Lyle, tell me in the description, because that'll give my not to boost my ego, but I'll be happy because I let somebody know about a great legend that is a legend, a good fighter, a very good fighter in Ron Lyle. All right, please like this video and subscribe. Peace.